On January 31, 2025, John Harold Rogers, a former senior advisor for the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, was indicted on serious charges of economic espionage. This indictment marks a significant development in ongoing concerns regarding foreign interference in U.S. economic and national security matters. The allegations. Rogers, 63, who served at the Federal Reserve from 2010 to 2021, is accused of conspiring with officials from the People's Republic of China (PRC) to steal sensitive trade secrets. The indictment alleges that he exploited his privileged position within the Federal Reserve to gather and share critical information that could give China an unfair advantage in U.S. markets. The specific charges include conspiracy to commit economic espionage and making false statements to investigators. The information Rogers allegedly provided included proprietary economic data briefing materials for Federal Reserve governors and sensitive details about Federal Open Market Committee (FOMC) deliberations, information crucial for understanding U.S. monetary policy. Such data could potentially allow China to manipulate the U.S. market, akin to insider trading, especially given that China holds approximately $816 billion in U.S. debt. The mechanism of espionage. According to the indictment, Rogers began his illicit activities in 2018. He allegedly solicited trade secrets and shared sensitive information with individuals posing as graduate students at a Chinese university. However, these individuals were actually operatives of China's intelligence community. The indictment describes how Rogers met with these co-conspirators under the guise of teaching classes during which he would convey sensitive information in hotel rooms in China. Rogers reportedly received substantial compensation for his role as a part-time professor at a Chinese university, amounting to around $450,000 in 2023. This financial incentive is believed to have facilitated his espionage activities. In addition to sharing sensitive data, Rogers is alleged to have made false statements to the Federal Reserve's Inspector General during an investigation into his activities and associations, further complicating his legal situation. Legal proceedings. Following his indictment, Rogers was arrested and briefly detained. He made an initial court appearance where he was ordered held pending a future hearing. If convicted, he faces a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison for the espionage charge. The investigation into Rogers was conducted by the FBI and the Federal Reserve's Office of Inspector General, highlighting the serious implications of his actions for U.S. national security. Officials from both the Justice Department and the FBI emphasized the importance of safeguarding U.S. economic interests from foreign adversaries, particularly regarding the ongoing espionage efforts attributed to the Chinese Communist Party. Broader implications. This case underscores the vulnerabilities present within U.S. national security frameworks, particularly concerning insider threats. The nature of economic espionage has evolved, with foreign governments increasingly targeting high-ranking officials to gain access to sensitive information that can be exploited for economic gain. The indictment of Rogers also serves as a warning to others who might consider betraying their country for personal financial gain. U.S. officials have reiterated their commitment to holding accountable those who engage in espionage activities that threaten national security. Conclusion. The indictment of John Harold Rogers is a stark reminder of the ongoing challenges posed by economic espionage in the United States, particularly from foreign adversaries like China. As investigations continue and legal proceedings unfold, the case could have significant ramifications for U.S. economic policy and national security strategies moving forward. The incident highlights the need for heightened vigilance and robust measures to protect sensitive information from exploitation by foreign entities. The indictment of John Harold Rogers, a former senior advisor for the Federal Reserve, reveals several counterintuitive aspects regarding economic espionage and national security. Counterintuitive information. 1. Insider threats can come from high-ranking officials. It is often assumed that economic espionage is primarily conducted by low-level operatives or foreign agents. However, the case of Rogers illustrates that even high-ranking officials within critical national institutions like the Federal Reserve can be complicit in such activities. This challenges the notion that only outsiders pose a significant threat to national security. 2. Financial compensation for espionage. Rogers allegedly received substantial payments, approximately $450,000 in 2023, for his part-time teaching role at a Chinese university, which facilitated his espionage activities. This raises the question of how financial incentives can lead individuals in trusted positions to compromise national security. It is counterintuitive to think that a well-compensated position could lead to unethical behavior. Typically, one might assume that higher salaries correlate with loyalty and integrity. 3. Use of academic roles as cover. Rogers was able to exploit his academic position to meet with co-conspirators under the guise of teaching a situation that seems benign and socially acceptable. This contrasts with the usual perception that academic roles are solely for educational purposes, thereby highlighting how legitimate roles can be misused for illicit activities. 4. Perception of economic espionage is less serious than military espionage. Economic espionage is often viewed as less critical than military or government espionage. However, the potential economic impact of Rogers's actions, granting China an unfair advantage in U.S. securities trading, suggests that economic espionage can have significant ramifications on national security and economic stability. This challenges the notion that economic intelligence is less vital than military intelligence. 5. False statements during investigations. Rogers allegedly made false statements to investigators, which is a common tactic in espionage cases. What is counterintuitive is that such deceit is often underestimated in its impact on investigations. The case highlights how lying to authorities can complicate and prolong investigations into serious offenses, and that individuals in high positions might resort to deception even when the stakes are incredibly high. 6. Long-term engagement with foreign operatives. The timeline of the alleged espionage activities extending from 2018 to early 2025 indicates a sustained engagement with foreign operatives, which is often overlooked in discussions about espionage. This suggests that economic espionage can be a gradual process involving relationships built over time rather than a one-time event, challenging the belief that espionage is typically opportunistic or immediate. 7. The role of the Chinese government in espionage activities. The indictment connects Rogers's actions directly to the Chinese government's intelligence operations, which counters the perception that economic espionage is solely conducted for individual gain. Instead, it underscores the organized efforts by state actors to undermine U.S. economic interests, leading to questions about how systemic these actions are compared to individual cases of espionage. 8. Potential market manipulation similar to insider trading. The indictment details that the information Rogers allegedly shared could allow China to manipulate U.S. markets akin to insider trading. This highlights the complexity of economic espionage, where the lines between legal and illegal market behavior can blur, challenging the conventional understanding of what constitutes insider trading. In summary, the indictment of John Harold Rogers not only exemplifies the vulnerabilities within high-ranking officialdom to economic espionage but also reveals deeper insights into the mechanisms, motivations, and implications of such actions that challenge commonly held beliefs about espionage and national security. The indictment of John Harold Rogers, a former senior advisor for the Federal Reserve on charges of economic espionage, is a significant event that raises numerous implications, particularly regarding national security and the integrity of U.S. financial institutions. While the core details of the case may capture the attention of the media and public, there are several important aspects that might be overlooked, which warrant deeper examination. 1. The nature of economic espionage. One of the most concerning elements in this case is the nature of the information that was allegedly compromised. Rogers is accused of sharing sensitive trade secrets, including proprietary economic data sets and information pertaining to Federal Open Market Committee (FOMC) deliberations. This information is not merely academic, it has real-world implications for financial markets and economic policy. The significance lies in the potential for this information to be used by foreign powers to manipulate markets. With China holding a substantial amount of U.S. debt, approximately $816 billion, insight into U.S. economic policy could afford the Chinese government an unfair advantage in trading U.S. securities. This situation could lead to actions that destabilize U.S. markets similar to insider trading, which undermines the fundamental principles of market integrity and fairness. 2. The role of trust and betrayal. Rogers's actions represent a profound breach of trust not just personally but institutionally. As a senior advisor at the Federal Reserve, he was entrusted with sensitive information that is critical for maintaining national and economic security. The betrayal of this trust has implications that extend beyond Rogers and may affect the broader perception of the Federal Reserve and its operations. The Federal Reserve plays a crucial role in the U.S. economy, and its decisions impact global financial systems. When a high-ranking official is implicated in espionage, it raises questions about the security protocols in place to protect sensitive information. This incident could prompt a re-evaluation of security measures and oversight within the Federal Reserve and other key financial institutions, leading to changes that may affect how they operate in the future. 3. Implications for U.S.-China relations. The indictment comes at a time when U.S.-China relations are already strained. Economic espionage accusations add another layer of tension to an already complicated relationship characterized by trade disputes, technology competition, and geopolitical rivalry. The case against Rogers could be leveraged by U.S. officials to justify a tougher stance on China, particularly in discussions surrounding trade policies and national security. This could lead to broader implications for international relations, influencing diplomatic strategies and negotiations between the two countries. Moreover, the incident may provoke retaliatory measures from China, which could escalate tensions further. This dynamic illustrates the interconnected nature of economic espionage, international relations, and national security. 4. The shift in espionage tactics. Rogers's case highlights a shift in espionage tactics, particularly how foreign intelligence operations are adapting to exploit vulnerabilities in democratic institutions. The fact that Chinese operatives posed as graduate students to gain access to sensitive information underscores the need for vigilance in identifying and countering such tactics. This incident might be viewed as part of a broader trend where non-traditional methods of espionage are employed, focusing on individuals within key institutions who may be susceptible to manipulation or coercion. As geopolitical dynamics evolve, nations may increasingly turn to espionage as a tool for economic advantage, necessitating a re-evaluation of how intelligence and counterintelligence efforts are conducted. 5. The financial incentive for espionage. Rogers reportedly received substantial remuneration for his teaching role at a Chinese university, amounting to approximately $450,000 in 2023. This financial incentive raises critical questions about the motivations behind espionage and the vulnerabilities that high-ranking officials may face. The allure of financial gain can lead individuals to compromise their ethical responsibilities, particularly in fields where the stakes are high. This case serves as a cautionary tale about the potential for corruption and the ethical dilemmas faced by those in positions of power. It highlights the importance of instilling a strong ethical framework and accountability within institutions to deter similar breaches of trust in the future. 6. Broader implications for national security. The indictment of Rogers is not just about one individual's actions. It reflects a broader trend of economic espionage that poses serious risks to national security. The case underscores the ongoing challenges that the U.S. faces from foreign adversaries attempting to exploit weaknesses in its economic and security apparatus. The FBI and other intelligence agencies may need to enhance their focus on economic espionage as part of their national security strategy. This could involve increased funding and resources for counterintelligence efforts aimed at detecting and preventing similar incidents in the future. Conclusion. The case against John Harold Rogers is multifaceted, with significant implications for economic security, institutional trust, international relations, and national security. While the immediate details of the indictment are crucial, the broader context surrounding economic espionage and its potential consequences deserve careful consideration. As the landscape of global espionage evolves, it is imperative that institutions and policymakers remain vigilant and proactive in safeguarding sensitive information against foreign threats. 1. Nature and scope of economic espionage. John Harold Rogers' case exemplifies the alarming trend of economic espionage involving high-ranking officials in sensitive positions. The indictment outlines that Rogers allegedly conspired with operatives from the Chinese government to steal proprietary information related to U.S. monetary policy. This breach of trust not only raises questions about national security but also illustrates the broader implications of insider threats, especially in critical institutions like the Federal Reserve. The sensitive data, including Federal Open Market Committee (FOMC) deliberations and economic forecasts, could give foreign adversaries like China a strategic advantage in global financial markets akin to insider trading. 2. Legal implications and consequences. Rogers faces serious charges including conspiracy to commit economic espionage and making false statements to investigators. The maximum penalty he could face, 15 years in prison, highlights the legal ramifications of such actions. This case serves as a critical reminder of the legal frameworks in place to combat espionage and protect national interests. The response from law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and the Department of Justice, reflects a commitment to holding individuals accountable for actions that could undermine U.S. economic stability. 3. Impact on U.S.-China relations. The case is occurring against the backdrop of increasingly tense relations between the U.S. and China. The indictment suggests that the Chinese Communist Party is actively seeking to undermine U.S. economic interests as part of its strategy to become a dominant global superpower. This incident may exacerbate existing tensions, leading to further scrutiny of China's engagement in economic espionage and prompting the U.S. to strengthen its counterintelligence measures. The implications for bilateral relations could be significant, potentially resulting in heightened diplomatic friction and retaliatory measures. 4. Institutional vulnerabilities and preventative measures. Rogers' actions raise critical questions about the vulnerabilities within U.S. institutions, particularly regarding the safeguarding of sensitive information. His ability to exploit his position at the Federal Reserve underscores the need for more robust security protocols and oversight measures to prevent insider threats. This case may prompt a re-evaluation of existing policies surrounding access to sensitive information, particularly for individuals in high-level advisory roles. Furthermore, it highlights the necessity for enhanced training and awareness programs regarding the risks of economic espionage among government employees and contractors. 1. Robert Hanssen Case 2001. Robert Hanssen, an FBI agent, was arrested and indicted for espionage after it was revealed that he had been spying for the Soviet Union and later Russia for over 2 decades. Hanssen sold highly classified information to Russian intelligence, including details about U.S. nuclear weapons and the identities of American spies. His actions, described as one of the most damaging espionage cases in U.S. history, resulted in severe national security implications and the loss of several intelligence assets. Hanssen was ultimately sentenced to life in prison without parole. 2. Kirkweeb and the NSA leak. 2008. Kirkweeb, a former National Security Agency analyst, was involved in a case concerning the unauthorized disclosure of classified information related to the agency's surveillance programs. Along with 2 others, Weeb was accused of leaking sensitive information to journalists which revealed details about the NSA's warrantless wiretapping practices. The case highlighted the challenges of balancing national security with civil liberties and the consequences of whistleblowing within the intelligence community. Weeb faced significant legal repercussions, although the case was ultimately dismissed due to procedural issues. 3. China's espionage against the U.S. 2018. In a high-profile case, Chinese national Yanjun Su was arrested in Belgium and extradited to the United States for attempting to steal trade secrets from General Electric. Su was accused of conspiring to recruit employees from GE Aviation to obtain proprietary information regarding the company's jet engine technology. This case exemplified the broader pattern of economic espionage by China against U.S. companies aiming to gain technological advantages in various industries. Su was charged with conspiracy to commit economic espionage and theft of trade secrets, and the case underscored the ongoing threats from foreign adversaries targeting American innovation. The indictment of John Harold Rogers, a former senior advisor for the Federal Reserve on charges of economic espionage, marks a significant event in U.S.-China relations and raises critical questions about national security, economic integrity, and the evolving landscape of espionage. The implications of this case extend beyond the individual actions of Rogers. Reflecting broader trends in economic espionage, the global economy, and the regulatory environment in the United States. Future outlook and predictions. 1. Increased regulatory scrutiny. Following the indictment, there will likely be heightened scrutiny of personnel in sensitive government positions, particularly those with access to confidential economic data. Regulatory bodies may implement stricter protocols regarding the sharing of sensitive information and increase background checks for individuals in positions of trust. The Federal Reserve may revise its operational security measures to prevent similar breaches in the future. 2. Escalation in U.S.-China tensions. This case will likely exacerbate existing tensions between the U.S. and China, especially regarding economic and technological competition. The U.S. government may respond with additional sanctions or trade restrictions against Chinese entities believed to be involved in economic espionage. Increased diplomatic efforts will be made to counteract perceived threats, potentially resulting in a more adversarial relationship between the two nations. 3. Public awareness and legislative action. The Rogers case could spur public debate and legislative action concerning economic espionage and national security. Lawmakers may propose new legislation aimed at protecting sensitive economic data from foreign adversaries, leading to stricter penalties for espionage-related offenses. This could also include increased funding for cybersecurity initiatives aimed at safeguarding government and private sector data. 4. Changes in academic collaborations. Universities and research institutions may face pressure to reassess their collaborations with foreign entities, particularly from China. Increased scrutiny on foreign professors and researchers may lead to a decline in academic exchanges, affecting innovation and research progress in various fields. Institutions might implement more stringent vetting processes for foreign partnerships to mitigate risks of espionage. 5. Surge in cybersecurity investments. Following high-profile espionage cases, there is often a surge in investments in cybersecurity solutions. Companies and government agencies may increase their spending on advanced technologies to protect classified information and trade secrets. This will likely lead to the development of more sophisticated cybersecurity measures that integrate artificial intelligence and machine learning to detect and prevent potential breaches. 6. Impact on financial markets. The information that Rogers allegedly provided could have significant implications for U.S. financial markets. As awareness of espionage activities grows, investors may become more cautious, leading to increased volatility in markets, especially those sensitive to Federal Reserve policy changes. This could prompt a shift in investment strategies with a focus on more secure and transparent opportunities. 7. Evolving nature of economic espionage. The Rogers case highlights the evolving nature of economic espionage and the strategies employed by foreign governments to obtain sensitive information. Future espionage efforts may leverage more sophisticated tactics, including cyber intrusions and social engineering, necessitating a proactive approach from U.S. agencies to counter these threats effectively. 8. Strengthening of counterintelligence operations. In response to cases like Rogers, the U.S. government will likely bolster its counterintelligence operations to detect and prevent insider threats. This could involve enhanced training programs for employees in sensitive positions and the establishment of whistleblower protections to encourage reporting of suspicious activities without fear of retaliation. 9. Global economic realignment. The fallout from the Rogers indictment could contribute to a broader realignment of global economic relationships. Countries may re-evaluate their trade partnerships and economic dependencies, seeking to minimize reliance on adversarial nations. This realignment could lead to the formation of new trade agreements that emphasize security and mutual cooperation among allied nations. 10. Long-term implications for U.S. national security. The indictment serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities within the U.S. government and its institutions. The long-term implications for national security could include a re-evaluation of how economic policies are crafted and communicated, ensuring that sensitive information is safeguarded against potential adversaries. This could entail a more closed approach to economic data dissemination, impacting transparency and public trust in economic governance. In conclusion, the indictment of John Harold Rogers is not merely an isolated incident. It reflects broader challenges and trends that will shape the future of U.S.-China relations, national security, and economic policy. The evolving landscape of espionage, coupled with regulatory and societal responses, will determine how effectively the U.S. can protect its interests and maintain its position in the global economic hierarchy.